Stella Abyss is Nippon Ichi's latest release onto the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch, and is officially set to drop on February 29th of next year. And today, not only did I want to provide a little bit of an introduction to some of you who may not necessarily know what this game is all about, but also go over why visually it looks so fantastic, but more important, why this roguelike strategy RPG is looking to set things apart from previous games in this genre. They provided us a little bit of a blog update. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for you guys to check that out for yourselves. There's a couple of brand new screenshots there as well that aren't part of this trailer that you should be able to see right now, but they basically give you a little bit more of a closer look at some of the things I'm going to be talking about. They mentioned that Stella Abyss is a roguelike strategy RPG in which you strengthen your party with the power of the constellations while exploring a dungeon in another world that changes form each time you play. In addition to exploring other worlds, the story will unravel as you share drinks with peculiar patrons of the bar called Stella Abyss. So just in their introduction alone, they give us a lot of hints as to what it is to expect. Pretty much a roguelike strategy RPG and an action strategy RPG at that, where you're pretty much constantly moving things around, cursor options, key attacks, skills, abilities, all those kind of things are peppered within. At the same time, they also confirmed that there will be a bar status. So pretty much you can bring followers along, you can bring players along with you, and these characters can be powered up through just conversations and drinks. So there's some Cyberpunk Valhalla ideas here, there's some Persona ideas here, and also they quickly mentioned there in their introduction that the constellations play a role into each one of the characters. That's something also you get to see on the trailer, where pretty much each constellation does kind of like specify one specific character, so you can get very lucky and a very powerful run where you kind of continually get power-ups for that very specific character due to them aligning up with the specific constellation that you are expected to kind of like roll with. And some of that is explained throughout the story introduction. They mentioned that Stella Abyss is a hidden bar tucked away in a corner of a city. The protagonist, tired from their day-to-day, is guided there by a flyer floating in the wind, and it opens his door. As the protagonist orders a cocktails recommended by the bartender, the protagonist falls asleep. The hungover protagonist then wakes up to an unfamiliar voice echoing in their head before they have a mysterious creature floating in the air appear to them with their magical senses of their flower's bloom. This is the drunken world, the dream world of a drunk person. The protagonist was robbed of their face and arm, and now they're left trapped in this dream world. So this is pretty much the starting point for the Wanderer, aka the protagonist that you actually get to see there wearing a very Persona-like mask. They mentioned that the protagonist arrived in a hidden bar called Stella Abyss after following a flyer floating in the wind through the cities at night. In order to get back their face and arm that they lost in their drunken world, they must go back and forth between the bar and the other world. So remember, the bar will simply work as the host hub, and you're pretty much going from there and back and forth. They also introduced the master, which is of course the bartender that you get to see. The mysterious creature that they mentioned earlier is called Tipsy, and they provided a couple of introductions for other characters, but I don't necessarily want to get into that right now. What they do specify a little bit more on is the systems. Explore the drunken world as you reach after you're drinking yourself unconscious. The drunken world is said to exist in countless numbers like stars. The protagonist Wanderer travels around this profoundly mysterious world to get back to their lost face and lost arm. Dungeons are scattered with different facilities that will aid you in your exploration, including an observatory where you can obtain enhanced skills, and shops where you can purchase items. It is up to the player to decide which facilities to progress through to be able to power them up. If you encounter any Stella of Abyss's regulars in the drunken world, you can add them to your party. With their help, aim to reach the depths of the drunken world and finally retrieve your limbs. When you use up all of your strength in the drunken world, you will wake up in the bathroom of the Stella Abyss. Equipment aside, all items will be lost and your level will return to your initial status. So they basically confirmed that the roguelike mechanics are passive at the very least, since you do get to keep the armor that you found there within, although pretty much the party companions are lost. Presumably, they don't necessarily clarify there, but you certainly lose your level and any sort of buffers you might have had equipped with you. When it comes to actual combat, they mentioned that turn-based strategy RPG battles are afoot. When you encounter a monster that roams about the drunken world, the fights will shift to a tile-based battle map. Combat progresses like turn-based strategy RPGs, where you choose your actions while paying attention to the enemy's weakness and placement, as well as the terrain effects. Strengthen your characters with the power of the constellations. As you explore, you'll obtain different Stellas, which with the powers of the constellations, by setting them aside, a Stella to each one of the characters' specific skills, you can perform and enhance them in multiple ways and expand their attack range, additional powers, or granting different attributes. There are more than 130 different Stellas that will randomly appear, and it's up to 4 can be equipped in a single time, but all Stellas will reset as your run ends. So try out different combinations of Stella for each and every new run. If you're not necessarily following up what Stellas are, they are basically the skills and the attacks that you come across, but like I mentioned before, each one of them have a specific constellation that they're tied to. So if you attach them to like a side character that you might have come across in your run, you can actually make those constellation powers for that very specific character multiplied by a large margin. So yes, there's a lot of RNG involved in a typical strategy game of this nature, and a roguelike game at that, but coming across the proper constellation Stellas and having the proper character to match them alongside that is certainly going to facilitate your run being made a little bit easier. They also mentioned that for combining Stellas like double step, which allows you to move back two specific tiles, in combination with attacks like high speed firing, which increases your power the further away you are from the enemy, you can create skills that deal high damage while also keeping your safe distance from the enemy attacks. And that's pretty much the strategy in these type of games, roguelikes. Whenever you find something that works for you, you try to mimic it again and again and again. They also mentioned that while sharing drinks with other regulars, you can gain effects that will aid you on your journey into the drunken world. The patrons of Stella Abyss are many. They mentioned some of them like Kaji, Baran, Kilka, Sas, Leona, Maya, Genga, and Sao Tome. The men and women of the Stella Abyss will also appear in the drunken world, where those may seem like they lost something important, and in order to reach them, they will request for you to go alongside with them in their journey. But also by sharing a table with them, with the regulars at the Stella Abyss, you can enjoy a tasty conversation where there are 4 prompts where you can choose your reactions during a conversation that include things of like agree, disagree, laugh, and doubt, as well as additional options for like drink. Whenever you choose to have those characters come alongside with you or get powered up based on some of the conversations that you have, they will be boosted, and you will be boosted based on that constellation's effects as well. The last thing that they mention here are the hidden effects of some of the cocktails that you can concoct based off some of the conversations that you have with them, and they'll bestow different special effects on you, like passive HP, higher XP, passive HP regain, higher XP percentage boosted like per level, higher damage, higher defense, higher speed. There's over 300 different type of cocktails, and depending on the money that you have, you'll be able to unlock more as well. And as you progress through the drunken world, different recipes will be unlocked as well. So many different options will become available to you as you progress through the game. So there are a lot of passive things that are continually kind of like being powered up in the background. So every time you start a brand new run, it doesn't necessarily mean like you lose all your progress or anything along those lines. It is one of those games that will let you keep a little bit of the power that you gain from your last run at the very least, so you can feel a little bit better going into the next run, since you do get to have not only the characters that are going to follow you alongside that, some of the passive boosters, but also the armor equipped that you brought into, you pretty much stacked up from your last run and your previous runs into the next one going forward. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today regarding their latest reveal, which is of course Stella Abyss, which is set to release onto the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Nintendo Switch on February 29th of next year. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.